So, let's talk about AI. We all know it's set to transform pretty much everything. But have you ever thought about how it affects the food on our plates? For Africa's food systems, this whole revolution brings up a really critical question. Is it going to be a tool for incredible progress, or could it actually become a weapon of inequality?
And that's really the core question here, isn't it? Can AI be harnessed to empower farmers and make sure millions have enough to eat? Or will it just make the existing gaps even wider, leaving the most vulnerable people even further behind? The stakes are incredibly high, and we need answers.
Well, that exact conversation was front and center in Cape Town at the recent AI and the Food Systems Conference. It was a major event during the annual Food Indaba, which, is a project of the South African Urban Food and Farming Trust.
And a vital discussion like this doesn't just happen on its own. It was made possible with some really crucial support from partners like the Center of Excellence in Food Security, the V&A Waterfront, and the European Union. They were the ones who helped bring all these important voices into the same room.
All right, so let's get into it. What actually happens when you apply these super advanced algorithms to Africa's incredibly diverse and, deeply human food systems? The experts at the conference saw two very, very different futures. One filled with amazing promise and another filled with some profound peril.
First, let's look at the optimistic side of things. The speakers, they painted this picture of a future where AI becomes a really powerful ally, driving some seriously positive change all the way from the farm to your dinner table.
And look, we're not just talking about some far-off abstract ideas here. Experts like Dr. Clement Nirinda and Dr. Frederick Isingiswe pointed to some very real-world applications. I mean, just imagine using AI to predict crop yields so you can prevent waste before it happens, or using it to streamline supply chains so that smallholder farmers can actually compete, which is exactly what the AgUnity platform is doing. This is all about using tech to solve real on-the-ground problems.
But, and this is a huge but, for every single one of those amazing promises, the panelists had a pretty stark warning about the flip side. That dream of more efficiency, it could crash right into the nightmare of algorithmic bias, where the AI just learns and amplifies our own prejudices. And empowering farmers? Well, that could get twisted into what they call data extractivism, where value gets pulled out of communities without them seeing any of the benefit. So what's the one thing, the single biggest hurdle, that could derail all that promise and push us straight toward peril? It's a concept that came up again and again during the discussion: the African data deficit.
The panel, with brilliant minds like Dr. Primus and Mark Gaffley, they did not pull any punches. They laid it out starkly. The AI models we use today are mostly trained on data from the global north. So they don't get Africa's informal economies, they don't speak most of its languages, and they don't understand its contexts. The bottom line is pretty simple. An AI that cannot see you cannot serve you.
This really forced everyone to step back and ask a fundamental question. What even is data? And the consensus was clear. We have to think way beyond spreadsheets. Data is the generational wisdom of farmers, passed down through stories. It's that indigenous knowledge of seasons and soils. It's the whole unwritten rulebook of local food systems.
And this quote from Dr. Primus just hits the nail on the head. My grandmother has the data. She has all those notebooks. It's just not digitized. The point is, the knowledge, the data, is there. It's in the notebooks of grandmothers, in the practices of farmers, in the memories of entire communities. The problem isn't a lack of data. It's that we're failing to recognize and value it in the forms it already exists.
Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, what's the cure? The great thing is, the conference wasn't just about pointing out problems. It was about mapping a clear path forward, a path toward what you could call digital justice. The speakers basically laid out a four-step game plan. First, we have to value the knowledge that's already here. Second, we need to build our own data sets that actually reflect our reality. Third, we've got to champion local innovators who are creating solutions for local problems. And finally, we have to govern this new territory with strong ethical rules to make sure African data benefits Africans first.
And that, right there, was the ultimate takeaway from the entire day. The goal isn't for Africa to just be a passive consumer of AI technology that was developed somewhere else. No, the goal is to become an active architect, to shape these incredibly powerful tools so they align with our own values, our own needs, and our uniquely diverse contexts. Which brings us to how the day wrapped up, with this really powerful metaphor that just perfectly framed the choices that are in front of us.
Keynote speaker Mark Gaffley said this, and you could feel it resonate through the room. You reap what you sow. If we plant seeds of exclusion,
bias and extraction into our AI models today, well, that is exactly the harvest we're going to get tomorrow. But if we plant the seeds of our own knowledge, our own languages, and our own values, then the potential is absolutely limitless.
So we're all left with this question. The technology itself is just a tool, like fertile ground. But the seeds we choose to plant in it, the data, the wisdom, the ethics, that's what's going to determine everything that grows. So, what will our harvest be?